For centuries, Europe called Africa the Dark Continent, a land without written history, without science, without scholarship. But buried beneath the sands of the Sahara were libraries that could rewrite that narrative. Libraries filled with astronomy, medicine, law, mathematics, and knowledge the world forgot. This is the story of Timbuktu, and the knowledge they tried to hide. In the 14th and 15th centuries, Timbuktu was not a myth. It was one of the most important intellectual centers in the world. Located in present-day Mali, it stood at the crossroads of trans-Saharan trade. Gold flowed in, salt flowed out. And with trade came ideas. Scholars gathered in Timbuktu's mosques and universities, most famously the University of Sankore. Thousands of students studied theology, mathematics, astronomy, philosophy, and law. But the most extraordinary part? The books. For generations, families in Timbuktu collected manuscripts, handwritten works passed down like treasure. Some dated back to the 1200s, others contained advanced calculations of planetary movement. There were texts on surgery, on property rights, on women's legal protections, on contracts and ethics. This was not myth. It was documented intellectual tradition. But then came invasion. In 1591, Moroccan forces attacked. Centuries later, French colonial powers followed. And slowly, the myth began to spread. That Africa had no written history. That Timbuktu was just legend. The libraries were hidden. Some buried underground. Some sealed inside walls. Families risked their lives to protect them. And then, in 2012, history nearly disappeared again. When extremist groups seized northern Mali, Timbuktu was in danger. They destroyed shrines, burned buildings, threatened the manuscripts. But something extraordinary happened. Ordinary citizens became smugglers. Over 350,000 manuscripts were quietly transported out of the city, hidden in rice sacks, carried by donkey carts, moved under cover of darkness. This was not just paper, it was memory, proof, evidence that Africa had been writing, calculating, debating, and teaching for centuries. And when the world finally began to examine the manuscripts, the truth emerged. Timbuktu had been a center of advanced scholarship, long before many European universities were established. Today, conservationists work to preserve what remains, digitizing fragile pages, restoring ink faded by time. But the damage done by the myth still lingers. The idea that history only flowed in one direction, that knowledge only traveled north. Timbuktu tells a different story, a story of African intellectual power, of families who guarded knowledge like gold, of a city that refused to let its memory burn. The sand may bury cities, but it cannot bury truth forever. History does not forget. It waits to be rediscovered.